What's up guys, D-Dub's Garage here. We're back again, and on this one I'm going to give you a cool review of my daily driver. This is a 2007 Saab 9.3 convertible. It's the 2.0 model. I just cleaned it. These OZ wheels take forever to get nice and clean because that brake dust just gets everywhere. But I absolutely love this thing. The cool thing about Saab is that they have kind of this cult following. And a lot of people, when they get in my car, they actually don't even really know what it is. This one too is seems like a relatively rare spec to find. It's obviously the 2.0. I think this is technically the ARC, but my favorite part, and this was my main condition when I was buying a car, was gotta be a 6-speed. So it's got 6 forward gears, and then the reverse lockout is the collar type where you pull it up. I just did the interior as well. Smells like apples in here because that's my thing. And at the time, I think this was before the car market went up like crazy. I actually got this thing for $3,900. Unfortunately, after that, absolutely everything went wrong with it. So I've had to fix everything. I'll give you guys a list of mods I've done to it as well. But this one in particular has, now I put, I think around 20,000 since I bought it. It's got 169,407 miles and it still runs great. And there's only one timing cover leak and it doesn't burn any oil at all. I almost never top this thing up. I do change my oil every 3,000 miles, no questions asked. That's why I have this little trip counter still going. I'm at 1,300 right now. So this particular Saab, guys, makes around 200 horsepower. Pretty sure that's at the crank, so not too much to the wheels. And I think around 210 foot-pounds of torque. Saab is known for having a pretty punchy 4-cylinder. It definitely puts you back a little bit if you really get on it. But the thing that I really like too is the power band is super smooth. You don't really get too much lag with the turbo. And even without this aftermarket intake, you really hear the turbo spool up, which is something I love. And I feel like if you have a turbo on a car, it'd be a sin not to hear it. One thing for all those Saab people out there, this is an upgrade you should absolutely 100% do. I had, where I was going camping in this thing, not sleeping in it, but I was driving up to see my friend in northern Pennsylvania, and this from the factory is plastic for Saabs. And this actually feeds the turbo. This is the coolant feed for the turbo back there. And it blew up completely. I'll show you guys a picture right now. But this is really one of those things that I think it's completely worth the money. This obviously is a TIG welded aluminum piece, and it's got the barbs on it so that you can actually tighten a hose to it and it won't try to blow off. And then for the turbo feed, I just have a MPT fitting with a barb on it for, I think this may be 5/8, I could be wrong. And then obviously just got some Teflon on there, hasn't leaked a drop, and then that is something that makes me feel much better about this car and that it's not gonna blow up. Another mod I did to it, just a simple one. This is an intake from Do88. It's a Saab company. They make some pretty cool stuff. I'm actually thinking about putting their big front mount on here and charge pipes just to kind of go with the theme I have going here. Yes, I went with red. I love red. So that's why that silicone pipe's on there. This makes you hear the turbo even more. It is insane the sound that this thing makes with the windows up. And when you really get on it, it just spools and it sounds so cool. So a couple other mods, guys. I have Bilstein Shocks on this thing, catback exhaust system. I welded basically the part that goes onto the cat right off the turbo myself. I think this is actually a 3-inch exit, and the whole system itself is stainless 3-inch. It was super cheap. I think it was from something called Redline Performance, but this MagnaFlow muffler actually costs as much as that system itself, because the muffler that they gave you in that one actually blew up on me and it rattled like crazy. So I really splurged and bought a nice MagnaFlow one, and I think it's just loud enough and not too obnoxious. So I'm really happy with the exhaust on it. one thing you guys may have noticed while I have this thing idling is my AC's on and something is making a ton of noise. Fear not though, there's a reason for it, and it's not that I have any bad accessories or anything going on there. I actually have a Fidanza lightweight flywheel put in this thing, and then I have the clutch from a 2.8 liter V6 model Saab, so that if I do end up tuning this thing, hopefully the clutch can handle just a little extra power, which I think down the road I'm definitely thinking about. It's got plenty of power, but you know, as a car guy, I just want a tiny bit more, a little more pep off the line would be awesome. But as you can see, when I go ahead and hit the clutch pedal, that sound is gone. So essentially what you're hearing is actually the gear teeth meshing with each other inside the trans. And there are preventative things you can do to that if you have a lightweight flywheel in your car and you're kind of sick of the noise. I, for one, I don't mind it. I actually think it's kind of cool, especially when you take off, it makes a pretty funky sound. And the reason for that chatter is because this is a single mass flywheel, and what came off of it was a dual mass. So basically that kind of flywheel has springs in it and a counterweight, and you can actually see when you take it out, it rotates a tiny bit freely, and that tiny little bit of free rotation actually absorbs that sound and basically torsional vibration. Another problem that people seem to have with the lightweight flywheels, they say that it kind of affects like smooth drivability and everything. Really the only thing I've noticed, at least on for my case in this Saab, is just the sound. That's really it. It still feels smooth. I don't have any clunkiness or anything like that, and hopefully it gives me just a tad little bit extra jump because of that lighter mass that it has to spin. But I actually did the clutch in this thing on the floor, so that was a big job, bench pressing it out of there, the trans. But worth it all day because I love driving this thing. So one question I get asked a lot, guys, about this thing from my friends is, should I buy a Saab? And it kind of pains me to say no. Unfortunately, these have been phased out, I think, since 2011. And basically, the lower parts availability is a little bit tough, but I will say it makes up for it in fun for me. And the only reason I'm not broke is because at the time that I owned this car and that everything went wrong, I actually was able to fix it all myself. And the only thing I had to pay for was parts, obviously. But just with the tough technology, like on this particular Saab this year, and also this generation, the SIM, it's just terrible. The CIM is basically the column integrated module, and this thing controls so much across the whole car, and it's really scary when something goes bad on that. I've had 2 instances where I've had to mess with it. One was actually the clock spring went bad, so I had an airbag light on, the horn didn't work, it was a whole big deal. And then also I had where the contacts on the inside of the turn signal switch kind of wore out, so basically it was always stuck turning right. Even if you turned it to the left, it wouldn't cancel. It was a real pain in the butt, and that is scary to pull that thing apart. And it's, if you do have to program it, luckily I didn't. You need old dated technology to do that. So that's something that may kind of deter just like the regular average Joe from buying a Saab. So I will be dropping a video, guys, on how to take apart the SIM and to carefully disassemble it and change parts, so that hopefully I can help people out that have been having that issue, or any issues similar to mine on that, because it is definitely scary getting in there. But once you do, and once you get it done, you get your Saab back. So for that, I think it's worth it. Another thing I love about the Saab is actually this, just attention to detail. Like this handbrake is actually, it's like part of the center console, and then when you have it down, you don't even really realize that it's there. It kind of looks similar to this other side. So I think that was a really cool design thing there by Saab. So another thing here, guys, that I just had to show you because it's probably my all-time favorite thing about a Saab. You can go ahead and turn the lights on. So I've taken plenty of trips in this thing, namely to Penn State. So that's from where I am, that's about a 3-hour drive. And something that I don't like with pretty much every car but a Saab, never heard that one, right? It's basically the lights on the dash. Like, yes, you can tone them down, but sometimes your eyes are just fried by the end of the night, and you don't want to see any light at all, really. There goes the lightweight flywheel. I'm gonna turn the AC off to quiet it down a little bit. So something that Saab did, it's this button called night panel, and at least on this one, it's right below the convertible top. You hit this, say when you're driving on the highway, and I think this is the most genius thing ever. You hit that, all of the gauges go down. You don't get your SID readout. The SID is the Saab information display, and you only have speedometer speed when you're going. So everything is toned down, and it even dims the speedometer as well. Like, you can't really see it because it's day right now, but I think that is just such an incredible idea, and it's not just a gimmick, guys. Like, I use this pretty much every time I'm on like a late night long drive where I'm tired. Like, it's just, I mean, don't fall asleep at the wheel, obviously, but I think it's just genius, and really nice, cool touch by Saab on that one. Of course, we had to talk about this if we're going to talk about Saab. Something I really think is cool, and obviously you guys have seen me do it, is the key in the ignition is down right in front of the gear stick. So another thing to go with the features of this car, guys, something I really like is that even though it's a convertible, you still get rear seating. And I gotta say, I was just back there because I was cleaning this thing, I was doing the windows, and it's really comfortable. They're not bad. The front seats, obviously, too, I feel like they're pretty plushy and they really hold you, so it's a good setup there. But this kind of goes with the quirks too. Check this out. If you hold the handle up as you bring it back and you keep it pulled all the way out, the seat will come forward. So that basically stops you from having to bend down and roll it back or roll it forward with this switch. You can actually just do it through the switch here, which I thought was a really cool touch, and it works on both sides, which is awesome. All right, guys, so it comes down to it, the main question: should you or would you buy a Saab? I'm gonna go with the answer, because I'm a Saab enthusiast, that yes, you should, but only if you're ready to open up that wallet or get your hands dirty yourself. They're pretty temperamental at times. They almost have personalities, I'd say. This one in particular has been a real pain, but after I've gotten everything dialed in, there's nothing else I want to drive. It's so much fun. It's quirky. It definitely has that unique factor. So really, those are the main reasons that you should buy one. And then if you aren't really the kind of person that's going to want to shell out money on your car or do the work yourself, then I don't think a Saab is for you. But this is something that you guys are hopefully going to see more of. I'm definitely going to keep modifying it, and even repair the things too that go wrong with it, and show you guys, so hopefully help you out if you're having problems with your Saab. But either way, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review of the Saab. It's definitely something I love, so I love sharing it with other people. But again, thanks for watching. See you next time.